Em, guess what? We're back with another fun-filled episode of How to English TEFL Pod.
You bet, Gav, and this week we're exploring the world of coursebooks.
Plus, we'll be tackling the ever-elusive topic of perfectionism.
And I'll tell you how much I love my job. No surprises there.
We'll also break down some handy expressions for when you want others to decide.
Plus, we talk about our experience of online training.
And let's not forget, we're exploring how AI can supercharge your teaching and learning.
And this week's quiz of the week, it's a hilarious look at how translations can miss the point.
Followers, please share our show with others so they too can be part of our teaching and learning journey.
Yes, please. Now let's get started.
Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary.
How's it going, Gav?
I am doing mighty fine, Em. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's all tickety-boo, thank you very much.
It has been a good long slog of teaching and learning, and we are back in the studio to record a new episode of Gav and Em's How to English TEFL Pod.
Studio is a loose definition of our setup, but if you want to call it a studio, Gav, that's fine.
I think that sounds very professional, and I'm sure the followers are also impressed. Em, have you been making some notes over this last couple of weeks of teaching and learning that you might like to share with me and the followers?
Yes, I've got some things written down, but actually I thought I'd just freewheel it a little bit today. Just this week's vibe. I've been going back to books, Gav.
Are you riding the crest of books this week, Em?
Pages, maybe, if you think of them as waves. Just getting into books. I'm really enjoying it. It's nice. I haven't used Coursebooks for a while.
With your students?
Yes. So I've got a logistics one, I've got a finance one, and I've got a general business one. And I'm dipping into each one according to the students' needs. And it's actually very, very good for them.
How are the students responding to their book classes?
I think they're enjoying it because it's very structured, as we know. Books are good at that. And then I'm jazzing it up a bit with a bit of chat between and making sure the students are really using the vocabulary, not just seeing it on the page, but actually using it in sentences, which is sometimes missing from the books, where they just get the language, but they don't always get the opportunity to use it.
I think it's important to have the opportunity to use the language that you're learning in the classroom.
And also make it personalised, tailor it to the students.
How do you tailor and personalise your lessons if you're using or dipping into a student's book, which is kind of generic?
For example, if you're teaching logistics and in the book there's a kind of word bubble with all these vocabulary words generating around the word logistics, which is a good way to start.
That sounds like a lexical group to me.
It is. And so then out of that vocabulary you elicit...
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
You know, before you even open that book, before you turn to that page, before you do anything, you say to your students, tell me about logistics. I've heard this word, but I'm not completely sure what it means.
Exactly, Gav. And then once you've done that, you open your book, you look at the word and you think, well, what other words can we add to this bubble? And you either elicit or teach the words necessary. And for example, one of those words might be recipient. Recipient. And some students don't know that word. They know receiver or they know consignee. So they've learnt the new word recipient, and they've tried to pronounce it because it's quite a hard one.
That's a really difficult one to pronounce. Recipient. How many syllables has that got?
I think it's 4.
Do you?
Recipient. Yes. And it's a bit like you can have a chat about receipt, receive, recipient, receiver. It's all quite interesting. But then you say to the students, so if you're sending something from your company, who would the recipient be? Give me an example of the recipient. And then they say, well, the recipient would be the supermarket.
That's a nice CCQ, Em. You're actively using that language in the book, but personalising it for the student. And then checking that they understand what that word really means and how it's used.
That's it. So books are great, but also lots of talking as well.
I like a bit of talking as well as a bit of heads down, come on, let's learn some words, maybe do a gap fill, not for too long, and then heads up again, we're going to all talk together, let's use some of this language together in a meaningful way.
And then they've got the pages to reference if they need to, so you can either send it to them if it's online, or they've got the book itself, or you can photocopy the book. So it's quite nice in all ways.
That is very nice. I like this dipping in and dipping out.
So what have you been up to, Gav?
Thanks for that question. I have been doing a number of different things and have got a number of topics to raise in this episode of our show. I first of all wanted to ask you a little on the topic of perfectionism.
Oh, I could talk to you about perfectionism.
I wondered if you could.
What do you want to know?
Well, my students are not perfect.
Who is?
They tell me themselves.
Yeah.
And I say, it's okay, as long as people can understand you and it's not too distracting with all your little blunders in English.
Do you say nobody's perfect? We're all human. To err is... What is it? To err is...
To human.
No. Something like...
To be is to err.
To human is divine. No, what is it?
To cover up is unforgivable.
That's not how it goes.
That's what the internet
says. What's the
says.
second part?
Patient safety.
That's
Hold
not
on.
how it goes. What does it say when you put into her as human?
Into what?
Google.
Oh, hold on.
Just those words. To err is human.
To forgive is divine.
That's how it goes. To err is human. To forgive is divine. And we're all very forgiving, aren't we?
Well, I do try to be.
Are your students too hard on themselves, do you think?
They can be from time to time. And I say, don't worry about it. Nobody's perfect. Let's just do our best. But I started thinking to myself, this is a nice question for Em and the followers. Could you describe the perfect ... student? What's the perfect student for you, Em?
Well, the perfect student isn't perfect at English, for me.
Well, they wouldn't need you if they were perfect.
Yes, that's a good point. I think people who are willing to make mistakes are the best kind of students. The people who really experiment are the best kind of students.
Is that a bit like a bull in a china shop of English where they're just running around and smashing things and seeing what sticks?
I have no idea what metaphor, idiom thing you're trying to convey, but no, it's not willy-nilly, can I say? I mean, these are calculated, experimental verbiages.
You might need to explain what willy-nilly is.
Not random, not just a barrage of language that doesn't make any sense, because that's not, what's the word, considered or well thought through. I'm talking about people who learn a new word and then want to use it, or just think, oh, I'll try and put that into a sentence or a conversation. And they might not get it right, but they really try. And I love every time a student will use a word that I've taught, or I hear a phrase and I think, oh, that came up last week. And I'm like, gold star to you. Well done for trying. Wasn't quite right, but we'll get there, yeah? That's my opinion anyway. And also just obviously hardworking, enthusiastic, all those things that come with being present. What about you, Gav?
Present and engaged.
Yes, so what's your idea of a perfect student?
I think one that arrives on time.
Important.
Pays.
Yes.
Leaves on time. And is very active during the lesson.
Right, so you're fleshing that out quite a bit with the, let's say, administration side of things.
The business side.
You're right, though, because there are students that might want to hang around for ages, or they just keep you waiting for ages. And you might have a great time when you're there with them and they're actually in the lesson, but you're there before or after thinking, no, this isn't good. I'm frustrated. Where are they? Or please just go home. And if they don't pay, of course, that's even more difficult to deal with. It's a lot, isn't it, in the box of being a good student? It's a lot of pressure.
It is. How about a perfect teacher?
Ooh, I struggle with this one.
Are you now picturing me and thinking, well, Gav has pretty much ticked all the perfection boxes. How could there be any faults in that individual?
No, Gav, I was picturing myself and then I was pulling myself apart and sticking holes in myself. I don't know what,
Were you melting under
yeah,
the
I was
eye of M?
diminishing visibly. It's like, that's not good. I'm harder on myself than I am my students, but I think maybe that's just me.
M, do you show up?
Yes.
Well, that's probably the first most important key to perfection in a teacher.
I'm always on time, so I do pride myself on that. I think that is a good one. And I am well prepared usually. I do spend a lot of time thinking about my lessons before and after. I reflect on them, plan as much as I can within reason. I do want a life. But then if things come up that I'm not expecting, for example, today I got asked the difference between fee and charge.
Fee and charge?
Yeah, what's the difference? And I was completely flummoxed.
Well, you can't fee someone, but you can charge them.
Well, as a noun, though, an export fee and an import charge.
Ooh, it sounds like the same thing.
I think they are, used interchangeably. But when you're put on the spot like that, you just think, no, I should know this. And why don't I know this? And it must be really obvious.
And the reason I don't know this is because they're the same.
And English is just really annoying like that. We have two words for the same thing. So I feel inadequate a lot of the time in those sort of situations. And I do beat myself up.
You're not describing the perfect teacher. Come on, you can try harder than that.
Am I not?
Give us the perfect teacher. They are...
understanding.
Oh.
Considerate.
Yes.
Patient.
Yes. Attentive.
Knowledgeable.
Friendly.
Yes. And fair.
I think aware as well. You need to be really aware what's going on.
Yeah, you do.
Finally, the perfect...
cup of tea. No? Okay, sorry. Your
the
game.
Perfect... Did you say your game?
Yeah.
It's not a game, Em. It's a conversation. The perfect classroom or online teaching platform / environment.
Which one do you want me to talk about?
Both of them.
Both of them. Well, I suppose the universals are well heated, comfortable, safe.
Accessible.
And then the online ones, stable Wi-Fi or internet connection. Stable Wi-Fi and internet connection. And stable Wi-Fi and internet connection. That's pretty much my 3 requirements online.
Is there a difference between stable Wi-Fi and internet connection?
No, I'm playing with you now. No, I'm just saying it's like when you buy a house, location, location, location. Online lessons, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi. It's just a need. Have I missed something? I don't know. Just be careful with your screen brightness. Make sure that your students all got the link that you sent them. Make sure that you're in the right meeting, that you haven't clicked on the wrong one at the wrong time on the wrong day.
It needs to be a welcoming space.
Well, online, it's hard to do that. I mean, background is important. Is that what you mean? A nice friendly poster or something?
Yeah, not some terrifying pictures in the background or,
yeah,
I don't know, a scary T-shirt that you're wearing.
Yeah. Always check your camera before you go online, I think. That's always a good rule. Just check what's in the background or put on one of those background pictures you can get.
A welcoming space, that's very, very important. I got from that it needs to be very stable and the internet is reliable.
And if it's a room, an actual classroom, then all those things apply. I suppose you just need to have enough chairs, make sure that everyone can see you and each other. Something to write on, make sure you got all your handouts if you need any. I suppose that's it, really. Coffee machine is a bonus.
Talking of coffee machines.
Yeah.
Have you seen our coffee recently?
Our coffee?
Yeah.
Our coffee. Coffee with a K.
ko-fi.com/how-to-English-pod.
Have I seen it? You mean have I had a coffee?
Maybe I just wanted to mention it.
I like it, Gav. It's a nice little segue there. So don't forget, followers, if you want to show us some love, buy us a tea or coffee, because we're not in the classroom. We can't just pop down the corridor, press that button and get a nice frothy cappuccino, can we, Gav?
We can't.
We have to go to the kitchen. We have to make it ourselves. And if our followers want to buy us one, it just makes our day.
Exactly.
I was also reflecting, Gav, just how fantastic this job is. How much I love
being a podcaster.
This isn't a job. This is a passion. I'm talking about being an TEFL,
An effly-teffly teacher.
an effly-teffly teacher. It's just so good. It's always different. You always get to talk to different people about different things, and just the scope that you have for improvement and development. And it's an endless journey. You just can keep going with it. And sometimes it's tiring, but I generally love that constant feeling of I can do better. I love that feeling.
You'll never get to the end of it, Em. There'll always be more to learn, more to teach, more to develop.
I guess it comes back to your idea of perfection, I think that is the goal, isn't it? But I don't really think I want to get to the goal.
I think it's overrated, Em. Perfection it's not in our grasp, really, and we don't need to be.
Can I go back to overrated? Because I think you're right. It must be really boring to be perfect. What can you do if you're perfect? You can't improve. You're already there. You're the best.
You'd have to do something different, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to start again with a new thing. And I don't really want to do that. I really enjoy the fact that I'm following this path and my students are coming along with me for the ride, and we might hit a few bumps every now and again or a pothole, but generally we're having a nice time.
I love my job too, Em, and it's nice that you reminded me, and I think the followers are probably reflecting too on the opportunity that teaching TEFL English abroad in your country to people online or in person is an amazing thing. I absolutely agree.
For example, this week, Gav, my students have been talking to me about trade fairs they've been to in all different countries and what they've been doing. And other students have talked about holidays they've had and family events. We've had a superstitions lesson all about cultural differences. So the variety's been fantastic and really, really interesting, like genuinely interesting for me.
And for me too. This week, we were talking about rules and regulations and laws in different countries. We were looking at some stats of populations across the world, which was kind of fun. We also talked about travel and tourism, and I did find out some quite fascinating facts from my students, like the prices of alcohol in different countries.
Excellent. Yeah.
And we even looked at a few other languages than English and saw how they were being incorporated into English. And that was also kind of cool.
That does sound cool.
So really, this job can take you anywhere. My students have been very indifferent these days.
Indifferent?
Yes.
Towards what?
They say that they don't mind which topic we study. It doesn't matter which day we have the lesson. They don't seem to care if we study vocab or grammar. And I think they couldn't care less if our lessons were online or face-to-face.
Oh dear, Gav, that all sounds very negative.
And on top of that, Em, they all seem particularly confused about the use of the expressions I just used.
Well, I hope so, because that was really negative and, they don't care, it doesn't matter, I couldn't care less. These are extreme ways to show not just indifference, but I would say quite strong apathy. I think you are trying to get your students to perhaps say, I don't mind.
Whereas one student said, Gav, I don't care.
Yeah, and that makes you just want to throw your hands up and say, well, I don't care either, if that's how you're going to be. Who cares?
So what I'm going to do, Em, is write these 4 expressions on my mini board.
Oh, mini board. Okay. I don't mind, I don't care, it doesn't matter, and I couldn't care less.
That's it.
And then what?
And what we're going to do is we're going to run through a mini dialogue together. And I want you to insert the correct phrase from this mini board of indifference.
The mini board of indifference.
Here we go. I'll be student A for this one. Do you want tea or coffee?
Student B says, I blank, 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 either is fine. Okay, I don't mind, either is fine. Oh, I don't think that's my opinion, but okay, I want tea every time, but I don't mind, either is fine.
Number 2. Should we take the bus or walk?
It really blank, blank, blank to me. What do you prefer? It really doesn't matter to me. What do you prefer?
Great.
Is that okay? That's fine, isn't it? If you say it doesn't matter to me.
Makes no difference, really.
Yeah.
You decide.
I think the to me helps it sound a bit more polite. Like if I just say it doesn't matter, then I might sound a bit angry. But it doesn't matter to me. You decide. What do you prefer? Nice.
Well done. Our third one is, she said she didn't like your new haircut, Em.
Oh, I blank, blank, blank. It's my hair, not hers. Well, I couldn't care less. It's my hair, not hers. Don't know why that just seems to fit. Doesn't matter. It's my hair, not hers. Also fits there. But I just want to sound annoyed. That's a bit strong, that one.
Yeah, and this sentence does start with I, so we can't have it.
That's true. It and I, those are the differences.
Very good. Our fourth, I heard Pamela isn't coming to the meeting.
I honestly, blank, 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 she never contributes anyway. Well, this one could be all of them, couldn't it? I honestly don't mind. Would be soft.
That's a bit too
strange.
soft,
A
isn't
bit
it?
strange, yeah. I honestly don't care. Fits. She never contributes. I honestly couldn't care less. Fits. Oh, but then you'd have to say it honestly doesn't matter. No, that's strange. It honestly doesn't matter.
No, we need it at the beginning.
Yeah.
This one says I. If you don't like Pamela, then I guess you're going to be a bit stronger about this, Em.
I couldn't care less about Pamela. But if it's a little bit strong, I would say, I don't care. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. We haven't done that one yet.
Let's add that to the worksheet later.
And if you say I don't mind, then it's very neutral. It's like, it's not that bad. It's not a big problem. It's just not something I mind about.
Thanks, Em. Very well summarised.
It's not very well summarised. I need to do better if I'm in the classroom, but thanks anyway.
Em, a little birdie told me that you did some online training this week. You maybe attended a seminar?
I did. Little bird would be tweet. I don't know. It wasn't Twitter. I don't use X.
It's just an expression, Em.
Yeah.
It means I have found out this information. I would like to know, along with the followers, what were the key takeaways from this training?
It was fab.
Was it?
Yeah, really, really good. And it was from an educational perspective, but also a student perspective. So for trainers, teachers, students, coaches.
Em, you really are teaching and learning this week.
I am. It was online, which was great because I could sit in my pajamas, which was nice. And they were speaking about teaching business people, teaching kids English, teaching adults who maybe hadn't had lessons for a very long time, who weren't perhaps familiar with modern education methods.
I heard there was some stuff for kids in formal education, and there was some training for some interpreters, some translators.
Yeah.
It sounded like they covered everything. That is very, very cool training.
And in schools as well. It was absolutely fascinating, all of the updates that I needed to know, and it got me thinking about my own teaching and my students and how I could help. It was a bit of a boost. Maybe that's why I'm in such a good mood this week. I'm thinking this is a great profession. It was a really nice community feel as well. Everybody was contributing, asking lots of questions. It was a nice vibe.
I hope you can put some of this new knowledge that you've received into practice into the coming weeks, Em.
It's always the case with training for me, Gav. It inspires me. I try new things. There are a lot of takeaways for worksheets and ideas for games, that kind of thing. So all good.
Sounds brilliant. Em, I also did some online training.
Did you, Gav? Really? I think maybe I saw you there. Perhaps you are the little bird.
Perhaps. But my key takeaway from that training seminar that I did online as well was an online platform called ChatGPT. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it.
It seems all the rage at the moment. Everybody is talking about it.
Yes, it is the new thing on the block.
And you know what I did?
Did you download ChatGPT, the app?
I didn't need to download it. I just used it online. But do you know what I
Tells
did?
you how much I know about it. Did you go to ChatGPT and use it?
I did. Do you want to know how I used it?
Of course.
I was teaching and my student got a little bit stuck with there isn't any and there aren't any.
Mm.
For example, there aren't any biscuits.
Oh, and there isn't any T. Crisis.
That's it.
Yes.
Isn't this interesting? Because now I'm thinking countable, uncountable nouns. And while I'm teaching, I just don't have time to knock up a worksheet where my student can do a little mini gap fill or a quizette or something else.
Quizzle, maybe?
Or a quizzle.
Little quiz. So let me guess. You went onto ChatGPT and you wrote into the whatever it is bar and you asked it to make you a quiz based on the words aren't and isn't?
Yeah. So I put those in little inverted commas.
Oh, so you have to do that for it to
I have
recognise?
no idea. But it seemed to recognise it. So while I was talking to my students saying, yeah, biscuits, tea, this is all very tricky, I was typing away in the background to ChatGPT and I wrote, please make me a mini quiz.
Wow.
There aren't any. Pop, it came out. And you know what I did, Em?
You made the students fill it in?
I pressed the copy button in ChatGPT.
And then what?
I pasted it into a Word document.
And after that?
I made it into a PDF.
This is all in real time while you're trying to get your students to use them, maybe just to say, what's in your office? Keep talking, keep talking, keep talking.
It literally took me seconds. It was incredible.
Okay. Sounds longer than it was.
And then I shared my screen and said, wow, look, I've got practice for this error that you keep making. Let's quickly see if we can figure out why we use there isn't any and there aren't any countable, uncountable nouns. And you know...
No more.
And you know what, Em?
No, Gav, what?
It was really good.
I was going to ask that. Was it good? Like, did it sound natural?
It sounded totally natural. And I did what you would advise no teacher do.
You didn't look at it first?
I didn't look at it first.
Wow.
It was impeccable, Em. It was like I had written it myself. Sheer perfection.
I've used it. I just haven't used it in the actual lesson itself.
My worksheet? You haven't used my worksheet.
I mean ChatGPT. I've used ChatGPT to create worksheets and dialogues and quizzes, and it is very, very good. I agree. It's the future. I need to use it more. Gav, have you also noticed when you go on Google now and you put in what's the difference between charge and fee, you get an AI response now?
You do. It breaks it down into little paragraphs and you can quickly scan through it and find your answer.
Basically, what's happening, I'm guessing, I'm not sure exactly, is that then browsing the entire internet and finding the best results or the most popular results?
Can I put your best into inverted commas and say, please be careful when you use AIs?
That's what I wanted to know. So even though it looks official and it seems like creditable and true, you still have to be careful, I guess, because it's only using all the internet knowledge, which includes all those...
Only all the internet knowledge? It's quite a lot of knowledge.
It's also including all the rubbish.
It is. What is very cool these days is AI seems to be giving references. So I did double check a couple of things and the references were good.
Oh, that's good. I think you have to fact check, but it must be getting better as well, where it is fact checking itself.
I certainly hope so, Em. But for a simple activity where you might be checking some grammar, maybe you want a business context for your dialogue or role play or gap fill, or you want I'm an astronaut traveling to Mars, give me some relevant vocabulary, or could be anything, literally, anything.
We'll have to come back to this topic because it is very exciting and I'd like to learn a bit more about it. Because, Gav, right now it's time for
Quiz of the Week.
What have you got up your sleeve this week, Gav?
I'm so happy to be back in the Quiz Master's seat. It is very comfy. Hey, have you been fluffing these cushions?
No, I haven't. You just like it. It's just comfy. So what am I in? The hot spot?
You are. You've got
I'm on the hotspot, not in the hotspot.
No,
I'm on the hotspot.
That's very true. You've got a big red light over your head because now it's time to answer some questions. This week, my students have been using translation apps quite a lot to help them understand exactly what it is that they want to say in English. But as you may be aware, translation apps do not work very well sometimes, and they may not understand the nuances of formal and informal English. Therefore...
Sorry, go on.
Therefore, we've got a quiz that will sort of look at some formal and informal language.
Yep. Sounds amazing, Gav. Let's start.
I'm going to give you a word which will be the formal word. This is quite advanced high-level English, and I want you just to give me a simple synonym, a word you would give to a much lower level student.
Okay.
Student says to you, teacher, I want to say the word raucous, because this is how it translates directly from my language into your language, English, which is what we're learning.
Yes.
So can I use the word raucous now, please, teacher?
Yes, you can, maybe, but perhaps more common would be loud or noisy.
Oh, I know those words. I think I'll use those words instead, teacher. Thanks.
Or maybe they don't know those words, but you're right, it does happen like that.
And then your student says to you, well, my dictionary says that my weekend was serene.
Calm, perhaps, or quiet? Be a more typical way to say that.
I like those words. They're easier to say than serene.
It's a nice word, though.
It's a beautiful word, isn't it? It's
Love
actually
that.
quite nice.
Yeah. But I am thinking of, a kayak in the middle of a lake with your toes just in the water. And
dangling.
you've got like a palm leaf being flapped above your head.
Swayed.
Yeah. So it's just giving me a very visual picture of serenity. It's a bit more than calm and quiet. Peaceful maybe?
That's also nice.
Yeah.
How about if they wanted to tell you that their room was a little too luminous?
Bright. I would say it's a bit bright.
And they may be having an online lesson with you and describe their monitor as being quite colossal.
Big. That's it, just big.
It's just big. It's large.
Yeah.
Maybe it's enormous. I don't know.
Yeah, but colossal sounds like the whole wall is a monitor.
As opposed to their mobile phone, which is new and fancy, and their translation app describes as diminutive.
Don't even know what that means.
Diminutive.
You can't say it. I don't know what it means. Does it mean small?
Diminutive.
Is it? Check. Ask ChatGPT how to say it.
It's diminutive.
That's why we don't use it. We just say it's small, don't we?
I think so. And they say, I keep getting bothered by my adolescents.
Teenagers?
Yeah, my children. Leave me alone. I'm having an English lesson.
I think what you're trying to show by this quiz, Gav, is that it sounds a bit strange if you are too formal in a foreign language directly translating to English. It's very good. Only if you're familiar with these words. Can we do some more?
Of course we can. I know that my student prefers diurnal lessons.
Oh, wow. I know that one because of a poetry lesson I had once, and that means daytime. Because it's not nocturnal, which is nighttime.
That's very true. And they may be told by their translation app that in order to have those lessons during the day, they need to be positively taciturn.
Taciturn, doesn't that mean quiet?
It does mean quiet, taciturn.
Wow. Why do they have to be quiet to have a lesson? Surely they have to speak.
Because they don't want to disturb the neighbours with the raucous fun.
Their colossal monitor. Okay.
Let me give you a couple more, Em. They may be told by their translation app that they need to persevere to improve their English.
Stop there, really. Persevere? What's wrong with that? It's a great word.
I'd say continue.
Yeah, but persevere suggests more than just continue.
And not come to a sudden halt.
Stop. Yeah, okay, I get that one. But persevere, can I just state, use it, people. It's good.
I like persevering. In fact, I have an abhorrence to low-level words.
Dislike, I think you mean?
Yeah, or hate.
Yeah.
And we have to be particularly benevolent towards our students.
Nice. Always struggled with this one. Benevolent. I can never say it. The best tongue twister in the world.
The benevolent elephant.
77 benevolent elephants. 77 benevolent elephants.
That's nice.
A lot of these words I think we've dropped because they are so hard to say.
Some of them certainly are. Don't forget to be courteous.
Polite. But that's all right as well. I think courteous is a good word.
And when you're having your online lesson, be sure to have enough nourishment.
Yeah, that's weird. Food.
We don't want to post-lunch slumber.
Nap, sleep, slumber's too formal.
Exactly, because you might perish.
Why would you die if you were going to sleep? What? I think that's the end of quiz of the week. Thanks, Gav.
The whole reason I came up with that, Em, is because I received this message from one of my students, and I think they had a translation app help them with it, Em. It read, "I must regretfully inform you that our bureau has exhausted its supply of caffeinated beverages,
No.
necessitating immediate procurement."
Meaning our office has run out of coffee and we need to buy more.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's nice, isn't it?
That is amazing.
But yeah, a bit too formal.
I hope they weren't cancelling the lesson based on that.
Coffee's important. ko-fi.com/how-to-English-pod.
Sure.
I'll see you on the other side of 2 weeks of hard graft teaching and learning, and then we'll come back, we'll reconvene, and we'll share our thoughts and feelings and experiences with our lovely followers.
Nice word, reconvene. I would also say meet again. But
Come together.
yes. Bye for now, Gav.
Laters.